Hi, folks. So the season recently closed here in Minnesota for a lot of species that people like to fish. So we've now entered what I like to call the season between seasons here in Minnesota. So until this lasts from late February until May 15th, in this case, mid-May, when the main season opens. So you have to get a little creative with your fishing decisions. So I'll just share some of our favorites here. So there's kind of two limitations for this season between seasons, and that is first that obviously the season's closed, so you have to target fish that are open or go places where the fish you want to catch are open. So I'll go through some of the options for that. And then secondly is you have ice on the lakes at the beginning of this, but then that ice starts to get sketchy, and you have ice that's not safe to ice fish on, but yet you can't boat on the lake, obviously. So kind of have some limitations there. So I'll go through ways to get around those two limitations. So start with species closed. So the obvious way to get around the species being closed is to fish for species that aren't closed, or to go somewhere where that species is open. So in Minnesota, actually, most species stay open year round. So panfish, catfish, rough fish, etc., are open year round on most bodies of water. Trout streams are not included in that; they close during the off season, but that's a different story. Anyhow, most species are open, so you can go to local lakes and rivers and catch those species all you want. That can be quite fun. Not what most people target, but still good to explore and try some different things. All right, so now the other way is to go somewhere where the season is not closed. So some options for this are there's certain bodies of water in Minnesota, for instance, that are open year round. So like Mille Lacs has an extended pike season. Parts of the Mississippi are open even in inland Minnesota for certain species longer with catch and release seasons. Wisconsin has the famous Fox River walleye season. So there's options if, especially if you want to travel for certain species that you want to catch in inland waters. The big one though is border waters. So a lot of border waters will have extended seasons or at least or even continuous seasons. So most of the Mississippi, where it borders Minnesota and Wisconsin, so the Pool Four and down portion, and the Dakota border waters, North and South Dakota. A lot of those are open year round, so you can fish for your favorite species year round there if you travel, depending on where you live. Those are options. People actually fish the Mississippi River basically year round, even in like December and January. Haven't tried that, but that's certainly an option. Um, so those are kind of some options to find species that are either in season or to travel to where they are in season. All right, so now we get to the second limitation, which is ice. So uh, basically, what happens in this mid-season is as it gets later, it gets warmer, that ice starts to go out. It pulls off of the shore, but so you can't ice fish, but yet you still have a few weeks, oftentimes, before you can get the boat out. So I'll go through some ways to avoid that. The first way is to actually fish that open area. So one of our favorite little techniques is on warm sunny days. You can actually go to where that's ice or the open water in between the ice pack and the shore. You know, say you have 20, 30 yards of open water there, and a bunch of sunfish and whatnot will congregate in there, and you can catch them, flies, waxies, whatnot. So that's a fun little way to kill some kill some time right at, after work or whatever. Fun little way to do that. So that's one option. Another option is to go to rivers. So I already talked about the seasons, like the Mississippi being open, and besides having open seasons, the Mississippi is also portions of the Mississippi, I should say, are open water year round. So you can actually travel to those and boat on them as well as catch fish like walleye that you want to. So that's one option. The final option is actually trout fishing. So you can go trout fishing on certain bodies of water actually year round. So certain trout streams in state parks in Minnesota, for instance. There's an extended catch and release season in certain waters in Minnesota and Wisconsin, starting in January, running through the main opener in April. So as long as you follow those regulations, there's certainly options that you can find for open water, open season on certain fish. So pay attention to the regs, page through them, find those waters, and kind of pay attention to where the ice is. And of course, with the ice, you always have the option to travel further north to find safe ice, further south to find open water. So season takes a little bit of experimenting, a little bit of traveling, and trying for new species and whatnot. But that's kind of the fun of it. Still not nearly as fun as the main season, but go out and try some new things. Hope to see you out there.